Hello there, sewing friends. Have you recently visited a Joann's or a sewing store and noticed the Ditto Pattern Projector on display and thought, wow, that looks really cool? Well, if you're wondering if this sewing projector is going to eliminate any of your sewing frustrations and bring joy to your sewing room, you have come to the right place. I'm going to do a complete review of the Ditto Pattern Projector from the review of somebody who has been using a sewing projector for years now. Make sure to stick around for the pros and cons of the Ditto Pattern Projector, and I'll also compare it to a do-it-yourself sewing projector setup. Let's get started. Now, before we jump into the details, I do want to make it clear that this video is not sponsored by Ditto. I did purchase this Ditto on my own, and all opinions are my own. You're now going to see a video of me unboxing and setting up the Ditto Pattern Projector for the very first time from start to finish. Once everything was out of the box and setting up the projector, it took me about 47 minutes to mount it, calibrate, and set up all my accounts with dittopatterns.com. Now, as we look inside the box, this is a complete all-in-one sewing projector setup. It comes with everything that you need to get started. You'll see it comes with the mount, which is a tension rod, the projector, a 24 by 36 Ditto cutting mat, pattern weights, cable concealers, all the cables you need, and target stickers. And I'll talk about that in the process as I sew my first pattern, what those target stickers are going to be used for. For setting up your Ditto Pattern Projector, you're also going to need access to a computer, and in order to connect with the Ditto app, you will need a mobile device such as a phone or a tablet. In this video, I went ahead and used my iPad Pro that I have and used the Ditto app to connect to the projector. The tension rod system for setting up the projector was very quick and easy to set up. I loved the little bubble level that they had attached to, that you can attach to the tension rod. It made sure that that tension rod was straight up and down and ready to calibrate the projector. Every time you plug in the projector, you will need to connect it to your Wi-Fi and also calibrate the projector. The first time is going to take the longest, as it will be the first time connecting. I found that if you restart the Ditto app the first time after entering your Wi-Fi password, it connects a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and let's talk about that calibration process. You will need to have the Ditto app downloaded on your mobile device in order to connect and calibrate your projector. So make sure you have that all downloaded. You will also need to set up an account on dittopatterns.com before you can connect to your projector, as you also will need a pattern to be able to do anything on your projector. Thank goodness the subscription does come with 3 months free, or you can purchase the patterns individually. In the Ditto app, you can go to Manage Projector or to your workspace to connect your projector to the Wi-Fi, and then there'll be a calibrate button once you are connected. When you're ready to calibrate, the projector will be showing a red outline, and you'll need to line up that with the white square on your mat. When that is all lined up, you can push calibrate, and the projector does everything else. It'll either say you have a successful calibration, or it will say you need to do it again. The only thing it's going to tell you is that you need to get that red square and the white square. And although I did that several times, you'll notice in this video that it did not calibrate. It was not successful. It didn't give me any other information, but as I read through the steps again, it wasn't telling me to do anything else besides get that red square and the white square. What I did find is that the mat orientation is very important. I had the Ditto logo upside down and it needed to be right side up. Once I turned the mat around, it calibrated immediately. So keep in mind that that does need to be in there. Unfortunately, that was not in the calibration instructions. It's only mentioned one time in the manual at the very beginning when you are setting up your projector, but your projector will not calibrate unless the logo is facing the correct way. So keep that in mind, that if you want to calibrate successfully, that the logo is facing the correct way. Now, in order to use your Ditto Pattern Projector, you have to have compatible files. These files can be found on dittopatterns.com. Only their projector files are compatible with the Ditto Pattern Projector. I highly recommend anyone who is considering purchasing the Ditto Pattern Projector that you go ahead and visit dittopatterns.com to see which patterns are currently available, and you can even buy one before you have a Ditto Pattern Projector. They do have a printable option, and I do highly recommend that you try out their patterns before purchasing, just to see if you like them before you are committed to using them. For this review, I went ahead and chose the Joni pants pattern. I selected the pattern, added it to my subscription library from my computer. On your computer, you can add your measurement profile and take your customized measurements to add to the pattern. Once you've done that, I've jumped over back to my iPad, opened up the patterns, selected the Joni pants patterns, and moved over to the workspace. Now, the Ditto app workspace is very interesting. I kind of like how they have it all laid out. You have tabs for main, lining, interfacing, and other. The Joni pants only had main and interfacing, but if you go in here, you also have pattern pieces listed and a reference layout. Whether you have 45-inch and 60-inch fabric, it gives you suggestions on how to lay out the pattern. So if I jump back over to the main, let's say I had the 60-inch and I wanted to lay it out with the 2 pants pieces and the fly on the fold. I'm going to go back to the main and go to the pattern pieces, and I'm going to drag the one piece I want on the fold. I'm going to line it up right on the edge, and let's say I'm folding my fabric there, and then I need the pants piece. Now, I get a warning that splicing is required for that pant piece. So you can't actually lay out the entire pant piece just as it had on the reference layout, because a piece needs to be spliced. So I select that and I clear, and I'm going to drag the pant piece, and it's going to tell me that splicing is required. This happens anytime your pattern piece is larger than your projected area. You'll also see some red dots on the pattern. That's where you're going to be using those target stickers. You put the target stickers on your fabric right where the red dots are. You cut out the pattern as you can see it. Then you'll see a red arrow. On that red arrow, you go ahead and select down. It will shift the fabric. You'll see the red dots that you can still see on the pattern piece. You're going to line up your red dots by shifting your fabric once more and then cutting out the rest of the pattern piece. When you are done cutting it out, you can go ahead and push clear and check off that you have cut and completed those 2 pieces. That's kind of nice that they do have a checklist that you can cut those out. But again, you can only, if you're splicing pattern pieces, you can only put that spliced pattern piece on your workspace at a time. So keep that in mind with the splice pattern. Once you have cut out all of your pattern pieces, you can also go and check if there's any interfacing pieces, and this one has interfacing pieces as well. And you can rearrange them. You can select a pattern pieces and use 2 fingers. You can use 2 fingers to rotate, or they have rotate buttons on the workspace. And so I'll show you if it's going to let me rotate these here. There we go. At 45-degree increments, you can rotate them as well. And if I didn't want to cut this fly piece on the fold, I could go ahead and come back to the pattern pieces, and I could add another pattern piece, and I would have to get them all. Let's see, let's clear that one. And let's go ahead and mirror this one. Okay, and so we've mirrored that piece, and I can drag another piece on here, and I could put them together, and that means I don't have to cut on the fold anymore. I've put them all together where I want that. Then I'm ready to cut out how I want. When you are done, you can again click the check marks that you have completed each of those pieces and clear your workspace when you are finished. The tutorial, they also have tutorials right in the workspace on how to connect your apps. And then you could also click on the sewing instructions when you are ready to start sewing. So I cut out the Joni pants, and then I went ahead and jumped onto the sewing instructions and sewed them up. I'm not going to go over the sewing instructions. They're very similar to what you're going to find on other tissue paper patterns, with technical sketches and drawings, a glossary of terms and directions on there. But again, I do highly recommend that you visit dittopatterns.com and purchase a pattern to print at home before you purchase the projector, so you can kind of get a feel for their patterns. Keep in mind that the Ditto patterns, the Ditto brand patterns, are the only ones that are customizable to your measurements on their website. The third-party patterns on the website are not customizable to your measurements. You'll just be projecting one size at a time. Okay, here's a photo of my final product of the Joni pants. I think they fit pretty well. There's probably a few adjustments I would make to future pants, but overall they fit and they look great. As I was editing this Ditto review video, Ditto did finally release their beta version of Bring Your Own Patterns, which is a way to import PDF patterns onto your Ditto Pattern Projector. So I went ahead, you have to upload it on the website before you come over to the Ditto app. So I did go over to the website and turn off the preview for Bring Your Own Patterns, and then followed their instructions to upload patterns. And I uploaded 3 patterns. One was a multi-size pattern that had layers on it. Another was a PDF that I had made pattern alterations using Affinity Designer and saved as a PDF. And the final one was that one that I stitched together using PDF Stitcher. I just wanted to see how each of these patterns kind of worked. And if you don't understand what I just talked about on some of those alterations in PDF Stitcher, don't worry about it. This is the Bring Your Own PDF patterns on the Ditto Pattern Projector that they currently have available. So when you click on My Patterns, now you will see your Ditto patterns. These are the patterns available on dittopatterns.com. And then you'll see the patterns that you uploaded, your PDFs that you uploaded. Okay, so these are the 3 that I have uploaded. So I just want to kind of show you how this uploads in here. The first one is a multi-size pattern. This is layered, so if I was to open it in Adobe, I would have layers and sizes that I can click on and off. All right, once you have your PDF file uploaded, I noticed the multi-size layers does take a little bit longer to upload. What you want to do is just go ahead and tap on your pattern. Looks like mine's already on there. And I look for this little red square, that's my screen, and I wish I can kind of drag that where I want it. Maybe that's a feature they'll have later, but right now you just have to use these splice markers, and you're going to get this warning right when it pops up, and it says it's multi-splicing, multi-directional, and it says it's very complicated. You might want to trace it. So really what it's doing is it looks like it's kind of importing it kind of as an image. This one, it does notice the pattern lines. It has them all in red here. And you have all the sizes at once, which there is no layers option here to turn sizes on or off. So it's going to be really hard to use multi-size patterns on your projector on your Ditto Pattern Projector, because all the sizes are here. It has it as an image. What it appears like, it has it as an image on here, and you can just navigate around your pattern using these splicing arrows is how you would navigate it. Again, it's just no layers to turn on or off. It has all the layers at once. So let's look at what it would look like for a single layer pattern. And this is one that I created. I created the PDF of it. I didn't create the pattern. I made pattern alterations and then saved it as a PDF. Again, when you come in, you're going to get a warning that says this is a multi-directional splicing pattern. They suggest tracing. That's kind of the default when you come in here. But if you see it pulled up, I can see the pattern pieces in there that I had, but I can't select like an individual pattern piece to rotate it. I can't rotate the PDF. So I'm kind of stuck in the orientation that I have it in as the PDF. And now if you are making pattern alterations and you want to organize it in 24 by 36 inch increments, so you're not having to do that as much, that might be something you're going to. Again, this is the beta version, so hopefully they will improve this more than what we see today, especially with being able to maybe drag your finger over to the spot of the pattern that you would like, and not just having to use the splicing arrows. That would be my suggestion for them currently on there. And let's go to a pattern piece now that I used PDF Stitcher to stitch together, just so you can see how that looks. And I did make it so it's only one size on there, again, because we know this doesn't have layers to turn on and off. Okay, it's already pulled up because I've opened all these already before, so I'm not getting those messages before. Again, I have this red box, which is my Ditto Workspace here. I can use these splicing arrows to move around the pattern. That's how you're going to move around the pattern. You still see all those page numbers. That's because this was stitched together. It was 8.5 by 11 letter size PDF file that you would usually tape together. I digitally taped together using PDF Stitcher, and I could see my patterns. I am going to take this over to the Ditto projector and kind of see how the lines look when we are projecting them. Again, I think the bring your own PDF patterns, they're moving in the right direction. Right now there's no layers options. You can't turn on layers options. You can't rotate the PDF pattern. You can import patterns that you have altered using a third-party program or vector design program, but there's also no moving this view panel to precise locations. So you see how there's a part of a pattern piece right there. I could only shift it using the shifting arrows, so I can't get it into a precise position where I can view the entire pattern piece for cutting. Okay, see the sleeve? I would love to have rotated it so it would fit all on my projected image. I can't rotate this PDF that I have imported, and I can't slide the view angle so that I can get just the tip of it. I have to use the splicing arrows. So I'm stuck to how the splicing arrows kind of move that pattern around. Again, I think it is definitely beta version, and hopefully there's going to be a lot better improvements for the navigation of this. You could use it, but I think it's not quite there, not quite usable yet for most of my PDF patterns, but it's definitely a step in the right direction on there, especially for making pattern alterations that you can save those as a PDF and then import them into your Ditto. And at least that makes your Ditto usable for a few other things. I've shown you how to set up and use the Ditto Pattern Projector. After using the Pattern Projector for a few patterns, I have come up with a few pros and cons. So first, let's go over the pros of the Ditto Pattern Projector. The first pro is its effortless calibration. The Ditto Pattern Projector stands out as one of the only projectors that does calibrate on its own in the most user-friendly possible way. Setting up this projector is a breeze even with those with limited technical expertise. They've tried to make it as user-friendly as possible and calibration as simple as clicking a button. There is no need to physically adjust the projector other than setting it up on the mount. The second pro is that it is a comprehensive all-in-one sewing projector setup. Everything you need comes in the box. That goes with the mount, the cutting mat, pattern weights, the projector, and the Ditto app. All you need is a computer and a mobile device to get started. The third pro is the Ditto app itself. It makes the pattern transmission process very seamless. You can go from choosing a pattern to projecting right in the Ditto app. The Ditto app allows you to arrange your pattern pieces in the workspace, mirror and rotate pattern pieces along with a check mark. So the Ditto app itself is very intuitive and friendly to trying to get you to be able to lay out your pattern pieces how you want in the workspace. And then from there, just sending it to the projector is literally just a click of the button. My fourth pro is customized patterns, but honestly I wasn't sure if I should include this, but since it is a big selling point of the Ditto Pattern Projector, I did decide to include that they do have customized patterns. The only patterns that are customizable are the Ditto brand patterns. Those are the only ones that can be made to your measurements. All the other third-party patterns available on the projector are not customizable to your measurements. Why I hesitated to include this as a pro, even though it is a pro, is really cool, is that it's not unique to the Ditto. There are several pattern companies that offer customizable measurements. So I feel like that's more of a feature of the pattern company, of the Ditto patterns, than it is the projector itself. The projector is not making them to your measurements. It's the pattern company on that. And I will talk more about that later, but I did go ahead and put that, yes, this projector connected with the Ditto brand patterns does have customizable patterns. Now, I've talked about some of the pros using the Ditto Pattern Projector. Stick around and I'm going to talk about some of the cons that I feel are associated with the Ditto Pattern Projector. The first con for the Ditto Pattern Projector is its premium price tag. A notable drawback of the Ditto Pattern Projector is its relatively high cost. At a list price of $7.99, this is out of reach of many cost-conscious individuals. I was able to get the Ditto Pattern Projector on sale for $4.99, which I consider a little bit more reasonable price than their list price of $7.99. In my opinion, the money that you spend on the Ditto Pattern Projector really goes into it being a complete system, not just the projector itself. It is a complete system, and you're really paying for that software development of the app that calibrates and projects patterns to the pattern projector. So you're really paying for that all in one system. My second con is subscription. The Ditto Pattern Projector is based on a subscription model. You can pay a monthly or a yearly subscription to have access to all the Ditto brand patterns. You will still have to buy any third-party patterns separately, but for the subscription you do have access to all the Ditto brand patterns. And with the new beta feature of bring your own patterns, you do need a subscription to be able to upload your PDF patterns. I am waiting for a response from Ditto to see if you cancel your subscription, if you're still going to have access to those PDF patterns that you've uploaded. I don't think you'll be able to upload any other of your existing PDF patterns without an active subscription. I will put a note on the screen here if I hear back from them. If I don't hear back from them before this video is published, I'll put it down in the description below. But again, that is a con for me. For some people, they don't mind the subscription base, but at about $10 a month, that's about $120 a year on patterns. I just currently don't spend that much money on patterns per year. For some of you, that might actually really be worth it. That is just a con for me. The third con is the image size of the projector. The image size of the projector is limited to 24 inches by 36 inches. If you are somebody who frequently cuts out adult pants and skirts, you may be having to splice and shift fabric a lot more than you would like. Stay tuned on how do-it-yourself sewing projectors address this issue. My fourth con has to do with pattern alterations. Now, while Ditto advertises very widely that they have customized patterns that work with their projector and they don't need pattern adjustments because you're putting in your size, have you stopped to wonder how you are going to adjust those third-party patterns that are available on dittopatterns.com? How do you make pattern alterations to those patterns? Currently, the process that people use on the Ditto Pattern Projector involves projecting one size and either cutting or tracing onto paper, and then cutting out another size to grade into those sizes. The only way that they currently have to do some of the larger adjustments, like the full bust adjustment, is to trace onto paper and then make your adjustments as you would on paper. That, in my opinion, defeats the purpose of using a projector. While it makes it a little bit more convenient that you're not printing off paper, you're still having to trace it and make those adjustments. Again, I will show you how do-it-yourself sewing projectors address this issue as well. You've made it. Now that I've gone over the pros and the cons of the Ditto Pattern Projector, you may already have in mind if this projector is right for you or not. Projector sewing is definitely the future of sewing, but there are more than one option for projector sewing. Enter the do-it-yourself sewing projector setups. There are a wide range of projectors that can be used for sewing. If you check out projectorsewing.com, I do give you information on getting started and how to choose a projector that's right for your setup, because there are going to be a few more choices than a complete package. But with a do-it-yourself sewing projector, you get a solution that it comes in a wide range of prices. Projectors used for sewing can be anywhere from $30 to thousands of dollars. Most people will spend around $100 on their first projector and mount setup. Therefore, a do-it-yourself sewing projector can be a more cost-effective solution for a sewist looking for something that is a little bit more budget-friendly. Remember that 24-inch by 36-inch size that the Ditto gives you? This is the minimum size that I recommend for a do-it-yourself sewing projector setup. There are several ways to increase the image size of your projector, whether it's increasing the distance between the projector and your cutting mat, or buying a projector that has a larger image size. Again, the 24 by 36 inch size is really the smallest I recommend. I currently use a projector that produces a 44-inch wide image because that will fit an entire pant piece in it for me. So that size works really well for cutting for me, and my setup was still under $100. Having that wider projection eliminates the need for splicing and shifting fabric very often. I rarely have to do that. A do-it-yourself sewing projector is also just a second screen for your computer. So anything that you can pull up on your computer can be projected on your sewing projector. So it really can be used more than for sewing patterns. I've used it for using applique, for heat transfer vinyl placements, for creating posters and paintings, and especially for movies for the family, games for the kids, and so much more. And since the do-it-yourself sewing projector is again just a second screen, you can use any PDF pattern. There are free programs out there that if you want to take a letter-sized or an A4 sized PDF pattern and put it together so you can project it in one whole piece, you can absolutely do that. And many companies are now offering what they call projector files. And projector files are just PDF patterns that are optimized to be viewed on a projector. And there are several companies out there. I'll also list another article in the description below of several companies that offer projector files for sewing on your own projector. Next, with the do-it-yourself sewing projector, pattern alterations are very easy. They're similar to how you have done them on paper before, and many people choose to do them digitally. While you can still choose to trace the patterns onto paper and then do them by paper, you can absolutely still do that. Most people are learning to do these pattern alterations digitally. Many pattern companies are allowing you to project multiple sizes at once, which make grading between sizes very easy. Some of the more complicated pattern alterations, such as that full bust adjustment, can be done digitally. And how people do that is they typically will use a vector graphics program such as the free Inkscape to make those pattern alterations digitally. It will require a little bit of a learning curve, so if that intimidates you, you can always just trace it and do it on paper. But most people who choose a do-it-yourself sewing projector are learning to make these pattern adjustments digitally. And my website does have several tutorials to get you started doing that. The best part about doing these pattern alterations digitally is that you get to save those changes that you made, or if you make a mistake, there's an undo button. So undo and then redo it. And once you are satisfied with the changes you have made, you can save that file to your computer and it's not taking up any space in your room. Now, one thing a do-it-yourself sewing projector cannot do for you is calibrate itself. The Ditto Pattern Projector is currently the only projector that is self-calibrating. With a do-it-yourself setup, you will have to set it up, physically adjust the projector, and make sure that it is square to your table and projecting the actual size. Now, this process might intimidate a few, but I promise you it is not as hard as you think. And I do have several resources on my website, or if you want more hand holding, I have a complete course that will walk you through choosing a projector and calibrating it, and then getting started with some simple pattern alterations. If you want a special discount code, make sure to check the description below again for that course, or just check out the resources if you are a self-learner. So the do-it-yourself projector will not calibrate itself. You will have to do that on your own. Another thing about the do-it-yourself sewing projector setups is that you will have to learn either Adobe Acrobat Reader to project patterns or another program such as Inkscape to project your patterns. Some may find there is a little bit of a learning curve to learning those programs, but I can guarantee that with a little work, it's not going to be that hard. There are a lot of tutorials again to walk you through these new programs if they are new to you. So now the question is, which projector, the Ditto or do-it-yourself sewing projector, do I use, and which one sits in the closet? Do I use both? Stay tuned to find out. Okay, so which projector do I use the most between my do-it-yourself sewing projector and the Ditto Pattern Projector? Honestly, after doing this review and sewing up a few patterns with the Ditto Pattern Projector, I chose to put it back in its box, and it sits in the back of my closet today. I have no regrets putting it back and just using my do-it-yourself sewing projector. There really is no reason to be pulling out the Ditto, even though I still have a couple months left on my free subscription patterns. I have my patterns that I love and I project on my own projector. I love not having to splice and connecting and being able to make those pattern alterations right on my computer. So in the closet, my Ditto Pattern Projector sits. I love that my do-it-yourself sewing projector is so versatile. I've never had to return back to paper patterns in years. I can do everything sewing-wise that I want using my projector. Most of the patterns that I currently buy do come with projector files that are optimized to be viewed on the projector, and rarely do I have to buy other patterns that do not come with a projector file. I think it will definitely be interesting to see how Ditto adjusts to the market and continues to improve their product. But in the meantime, the Ditto sits in the corner of my closet. Until next time, thank you for joining me today for this Ditto Pattern Projector review.